Welcome to the Purpose to Create podcast, your go-to resource for creative entrepreneurs seeking growth in life, business, and wellness. On this podcast, we're into normalizing the raw parts of business most people shy away from. I'm your host, Natarsha Wright, founder and CEO of Natarsha Wright Creative, a coaching and consulting business for entrepreneurs. Join us for candid conversations about the creative journey, practical tips, and invaluable support for navigating challenges and losses. Get ready to connect, be inspired, and thrive amidst adversity. Tune in for empowering discussions and expert insights on overcoming setbacks, finding inspiration, and navigating loss in life and business. Hey friends, welcome to the Purpose to Create podcast. I'm your host, Natarsha Wright. Today I want to talk to you about starting 2025 with intention, not overwhelm. I'm going to talk to you about going at your pace, on your path, and owning this year. You see, I'm easing my way into 2025. I like to start my new year in the spring since we're still technically in hibernation mode. There's a lot of pressure in January to have it all figured out, to start strong, to move quickly. But the truth is, meaningful growth doesn't happen all at once. It happens at your pace. This season isn't about sprinting out of the gate. It's about setting a foundation that feels right for you. Your pace, your vibe, your way. Routines aren't one size fits all. And there's rarely any forgiveness if we start a routine and stop and pivot to do something else. So that's why you got to go at your pace. And until you figure out what size fits for you, you keep trying routines until you find one that fits for your lifestyle. You see, what worked for you last season might not fit for this one. And that's okay. Life shifts, seasons change, and your routine should evolve with them. Instead of diving into rigid structures, focus on setting intentions. What do you want this season to feel like for you? Build sustainable habits. What small actions align with your current season? And listen to your needs. What pace feels supportive for you right now? I encourage you to take your time, move with grace, and celebrate the wins. Because I'm celebrating all year long. A win I'm carrying into 2025 is moving from clutter to clarity. That's right. Moving from clutter to clarity. I don't know about you, but I need a round of applause for that one. So I'm cueing a round of applause for that because that was a major win. You know, I'm heavy on clarity, but I'm one who cannot function in clutter. I can't think. I can't see what's next. And so before I ended 2024, one of the things that I needed to accomplish was clearing some clutter that I was accumulating. One of the biggest things I needed to clear off my plate was both physical and digital. I realized I can't function well in cluttered spaces, whether it's my home, my closet, or my phone. Decluttering isn't just about physical spaces. It's also about your digital and emotional spaces. So the first thing I tackled was my closet. And if you follow me online, you knew that this decluttering project was major. And it was something that I can clearly say that I accumulated a lot of stuff over pandemic, and I just needed to let go of that pandemic wardrobe and let go of things that no longer fit me well, or that was no longer my style. So that was one of many of my decluttering projects. It was so worth it. Now I can see exactly what I own, and honestly, I have Zara at home. I don't know about you, but I'm so excited to see that I actually don't need to go and buy another thing for my closet. No more impulse buying for things I already have. So the first thing I'm going to do is always shop my closet first. And that's why I'm so excited that I started to redefine what my style is and to reconfigure, restructure my closet so that I can adopt a new style this year, which I'm very excited about. So I'm doing a capsule wardrobe and just focusing on old money. Okay, baby. Because when I step out the house, I need to look like your girl is looking very wealthy. Okay. And so the way to do that is to create a capsule wardrobe so that you can mix and match a lot of the pieces you already have to have a fresh look every time you step out of the house with little to no effort and still look fly. And so that's the kind of vibes I'm on. And so I'm really excited to have tackled that project. I'm all done, which I'm very excited. I was able to donate several bags to a local charity, which I'm very excited to have, donated my clothes to, because I know that it's going to go to the community who needs them instead of them sitting in my closet and collecting dust. Okay, so the next thing on my list for decluttering was my social media. I did a digital declutter. I went all in with this because honestly, guys, I have been accumulating a lot of digital clutter. And as a photographer, I had so many photos on my phone, and then they're just everywhere and it takes up a lot of space. So one of the things that I wanted to do, or one of the things I felt, to be honest with you, is like, I don't know if I'm having like a digital midlife crisis, you know what I'm saying? Like over the past few months, I've been reevaluating how I want to show up online. Do I want to talk about business? Do I want to talk about entrepreneurship and being an entrepreneur? Do I want to talk about personal growth and development? Do I want to talk about podcasting? Do I want to talk about grief? Like, I don't know. Like, there's so many things that I want to be able to talk about. And I just haven't really figured out, how I want that container to look like. So I'm just out here figuring it out, y'all. So the first thing I did was purge my Facebook because I'm not really there. And so I removed myself from over 100 groups. Yeah. I mean, but this is over the last 8 years. Okay. So I know it sounds like a lot, but a lot of them were a lot of photography groups that I was in. And so it was time for me to let that go, and all is well. I did not have the type of digital attachment I thought I was going to have. And I didn't think I was going to be able to just kind of like release myself from those groups I'm no longer in. I mean, for me, removing myself from those photography groups, signaled that, that is a chapter that, that I am releasing. And that's why I stayed in them for so long, even after, kind of slowing down with photography over the last 5 years. And so now that I'm making my way back into that space, it looks very different for me. So I needed to kind of just let go of where I was and let go of the past so that I could move forward. So I'm really excited about that, and excited about, kind of where I'm headed and what I want my digital footprint to look like. So once I remove myself from the groups, I am going back and forth with this idea, but honestly, I'm probably going to just say goodbye to Facebook altogether. I just haven't really figured out when I'm going to do that, because one of the things I'm looking into is, does Instagram and Facebook go together? And if so, then I may need to keep my Facebook, or I either need to get rid of my Instagram. So I'm going back and forth with that. So speaking of Instagram, I went from following over 2,000 accounts over the last, all these years, 2,000 accounts down to 0. Yes, you heard that right. I went down to 0. So that might sound drastic to you, but this digital declutter has been so freeing. It's given me space to reassess who and what I'm allowing into my mental space. And the reason why this was important for me is because I'm doing a 21-day fast with my church. And so one of the things that helps me not to feel like I always have to constantly be checking social, like I'm constantly missing something, is to just do the digital detox for right now. And then I'll go back and add people over time. But right now, it doesn't give me the urge to want to check social and, follow and see what's going on or feel like I'm missing anything. But this will allow me to follow people in the space that I'm in right now, because a lot of the people I were following, again, over time, over the last several years, over the last 5 years, and it just looks very different where I'm at, especially because I'm in the personal growth and development space. I tend to want to intake different things than what I used to intake over 5 years ago. It looks very different for me on what I want in my space now. So here's one of the biggest things that I learned, that sometimes clarity requires stepping back. and cleaning up and asking, is this still serving me? If you've been feeling overwhelmed like me by your digital online prints or your digital world, let this be your nudge that it's okay to hit reset. It's okay to pivot. There's nothing wrong with that. So here's the lesson I want you to take away from this. Sometimes we don't need more. We don't need more clothes, more storage, more stuff. Often we already have everything we need. We just need to make room for it. So here's your gentle reminder to take inventory, clear the clutter. Sorry, I have my braces in, and so I'm like stumbling over my words, but clear the clutter and notice how clarity begins to unfold one space, one step, and one moment at a time. So here are 3 gentle reminders as you step into this new year. Your pace is valid, right? Don't compare your journey to someone else's highlight reel. Focus on alignment, not hustle, right? I know that we are in this hustle and grind culture, this soft life culture, but the reality is focus on alignment and then everything else will flow. Build routines that honor your current season that you're in, right? A lot of times we can't move forward because we're stuck in a season that no longer serves us. So make sure that you're honoring the current season that you're in by getting into alignment with wherever you are. And the reality of it is be honest about where you are in the season that you're in. And the last reminder I want to give you is to celebrate progress, not just the results, right? Every step forward counts. Focus on the person that you're becoming and celebrate that progress. So here's something new that I'm adding to the podcast, which is called Purposeful Pause. And if you're part of my newsletter community, you've already gotten some insight to what this looks like. And I'm excited to bring this into the podcast this year. And sidebar, you may notice that the podcast has shifted over the last year. And that's honestly because I'm just really trying to figure out what direction I want to take it in, because how I started this podcast is kind of not where I'm at right now in my life. And so this podcast is growing just as I am growing. And right now, I think the season I'm in is just like personal growth and development. So you'll see the shift into more personal growth and development content as we do the podcast moving forward. And so one of the things that, over the last couple of years that I have found myself talking about was the things that I was going through and trying to figure out in real time, which was grief. And I'll still be talking about grief, but it won't be at the intensity that I was doing before when I was just processing in real time and needed an outlet. And so I am figuring out in real time what the structure looks like. So I appreciate you still listening to the podcast, because the podcast is growing with me. It's going through the different ebbs and flow of me just really trying to figure out life and figure out my part in it and figure out how I need to show up and just, focus on my purpose to create. And so the purposeful pause will give us space to really focus on pausing, but let it be meaningful, right? A pause does not mean stop. In this purposeful pause, I have 3 prompts that I want you to journal. And I want you to take time to listen to this. The first purposeful pause prompt is, what's one intention guiding you in 2025? The second prompt is, what routine feels sustainable and supportive for you right now? Don't focus on, 2024. Don't focus at the end of 2025. And the third prompt is, how can you give yourself grace when things don't go as planned? Are you leaving yourself room to pivot and shift as needed? Here's to a year of aligned growth, gentle routines, and showing up for yourself one intentional step at a time. Here's an affirmation I want to leave you with. I create space, physically, digitally, and emotionally, for what truly aligns with me. Clarity flows when I let go of what no longer serves me in a season that I'm in. All right, friends, have an amazing start to your new year. Remember to go at your pace until you figure out what works for you. Stay focused, and until next time. As we close out, thank you for listening to the Purpose to Create podcast, where we strive to empower and inspire creative entrepreneurs like you. Keep igniting your creativity, pursuing your passions. Yes, I said passions with an S. Pursue them all. And embrace your growth. Remember to share, comment, like, and subscribe to the Purpose to Create podcast. Thank you for being part of our community. And until next time, keep creating with purpose. Peace.